Hey everybody, my name is Ryan Shearer with Lebanon Now, and I'm here with Sarah Ice from Compass Health, and you are the Youth CPRC. So what are all those letters mean?
Well, so CPRC stands for Community Psychiatric Rehabilitation Center. So my program is CPR, but that can be confusing. So we add the C just for fun.
Okay, so yeah, it's more mental health instead of physical reviving somebody.
So we do mental and behavioral health.
Okay.
Yep.
In September is Suicide Prevention Month.
Yes.
And it's something near and dear to our hearts here at Lebanon. And I asked you a while back if you would come on and let's discuss some of those in a local fashion, what we have and resources we have here in Lebanon.
So honestly, I know we both have grown up here and resources have grown to be more abundant in our area as the need has grown. And I love that our community sees that we need to continue to grow and we aren't stagnant. And that's one of the best things about the Lebanon community. Compass Health, which used to be Pathways, has been here for several years. And we have a location that we share with Jordan Valley. So we cohabitate with Jordan Valley. It's a grant that Laclede County got several years back to where we can both provide community health services. So they provide the dentistry and the physical side of things, and then we provide the mental and behavioral health side of things, also focusing on SUD, which is substance use disorders. And we have a great program here for that.
Okay. And so... And hopefully you're a repeat guest here, so we talk about all these things. But today, let's talk about some statistics, right? In our local area, what do the statistics look like when it comes to suicide and suicide prevention?
So localized numbers are really hard to find because they don't really, I don't want to say register, but they don't come up as often or have as many statistics because if you localize it, there aren't as many. I will say that rural areas like ours are more susceptible to suicide or even having the suicide attempts, suicide ideology, which we call SI, than it would be in a bigger area. We do have, as Missouri, we are the ranked 19th in the highest suicide rate in our nation, which, middle of the road is not bad, but it's not good. And we can definitely do better.
Yes.
What a lot of that means is we have so many rural areas where all of this is more isolated. There aren't as many resources. And we are seeing that those rural areas are harder to reach. And so that's why nationwide, we have 988. And 988 is something that came about nationally and was instituted back in July of last year. It is something that is for crisis management, suicidal ideation, substance use, or even just, I need someone to talk to. I need an outlet. I need somewhere to vent. And this is a safe place.
And I love 988 in the fact that for years, if something was physically wrong, if you broke a leg, if you had a resource, right? But anything that was considered real mental health or any of that, it was kind of just a crapshoot of where to go.
Here's the rug.
Yeah. Here, and I love the fact that as I got older, how much we've embraced actually taking care of our mental health, and we got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But we've embraced that, and now we have some resources.
Yes.
So because it's hard to tell statistics, we know it does happen in our town, though.
Yes,
it's a thing that happens, and probably more common than what everybody thinks, even though we don't have exact numbers. What do we know? There's not, I know there's not a single reason for suicide. Ever. But do we know some of the causes and risk factors?
So from my perspective, working in mental health and working with youth, I can give a lot of different areas that I see that I'm like, this is where we're struggling. Disconnection from our community is a huge one. Disconnection at school, isolation, rejection, fear of rejection. So it doesn't even have to be that you've actually been rejected. It's that scenario in your head that you've made up and the what ifs and living in that land of what if and it being so heavy that it's hard to keep going, Other ones can be physical pain if you are in physical pain all the time, life sucks.
Oh yeah,
you
of
know?
course.
And that's something that we've seen people with cancer or any kind of terminal diseases that we've seen even in our area. Other things that I've seen in our statistics are not having a good relationship with your family. Parenting is a huge one. I am guilty of taking more time to check my email or my social media than looking at my children. And it's something that we all need to work on.
And I think in our household, we struggle with this as well, as we have 2 kids that are 12 and 14. They're more interested in video games and screens and stuff. And as adults, I do this. I'm never off. This is my business, and my wife works here now too. And so we're working late, and we're doing things, and we're doing whatever. So if they're already feeling pushed off or isolated at school, and they come home and feel pushed off and isolated.
Right. And really carving out that family time. Don't dismiss family dinners. Mm-hmm. It is important. It is important to connect with your family and with your kids. This is not just important for kids, though. As adults, we need connection. We need people, and we need good community. And so if you are isolating yourself because you feel rejected or have a fear of being rejected, you are putting yourself in that spot to have those thoughts that just bombard you.
Yes.
And then who do you go to with those?
Because you feel ashamed. You feel ashamed, or you feel like nobody's going to understand, or you've kind of broken off that relationship through this isolation. Because I think we all know if we're left with our own thoughts long enough, it never stays on rainbows and kittens.
Oh, no.
Right? And then especially for the youth, one of my favorite sayings that I grew up and had to realize is puppy loves real to the puppy, right? That's a big saying that I heard when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And it goes to the fact of when something goes wrong at school, this is the only thing that they know.
Yeah.
They don't. We look at it and we might dismiss it to teenage drama or this or that, but this is their entire lives. This is their existence.
Right.
And then if they don't feel they can come home and connect with you, that.
Right. And unfortunately, social media can be a great thing.
Yes.
I've seen that in my personal life, of how it can be a wildfire for good.
Yes.
But for kids and teenagers, that can be their downfall, because so much is hinged on your following and your online presence, that if something happens, one negative thing, I almost fell on the sidewalk out there. Yeah. If I were a teenager and that was in front of a bunch of people, oh my gosh, my life would be ruined.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I can make a joke about it because I'm like, it's not a big deal.
Right? Yeah.
But for kids, that is a lot. And also for adults, if you don't have that stability and that foundation, that can make you crumble. Because you're still, even as adults, we're still trying to figure, I still don't know what I want to do when I get older.
One of the stories that I convey to people is my grandparents passed away within 6 months of each other in 2018. And they were on hospice and they were sick, and I was helping to take care of them. And there were new things coming at these 80-year-old people every day. There's a new thing coming at you. You never have it figured out. So mental health and and building that structure with the youth now is very important because it never stops.
Right. And I know I talk a lot about youth. That's kind of my passion. Yeah. But what I've also seen with adults is life is so different from whenever we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
And there are so many things that... and again, we have picture perfect Pinterest stuff. And I've never been in a home where it actually was like that.
Oh, no.
And so you have this stigma of what we're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I call it shoulding on myself. Right. I don't want to should on myself. I should be doing this and I should be doing that. I don't want to should on myself, because then comparison comes in and you're comparing yourself. And that comparison game is a struggle.
Right. And I think that's for adults, kids, and everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, because as where you're in school and your pressures are a lot social and some academic, but they turn the same thing, right? As you get an adult, you change one group of people out for another.
Yep.
And those things can follow you, especially when you struggle with them at a young basis. Then you're going to keep those ideologies and you're going to keep those things out.
Yep.
And I know for me, when I would go through those things, it was more of I didn't necessarily I felt stuck, right? I didn't want to complete the task. I didn't want to finish I just didn't know how else. And when you feel stuck and back into that corner and you're not educated or your mental illness is attacking you, that seems like that seems like your only escape.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you use the analogy of, an animal backed into the corner,
right.
They're scared and they don't know what to do. It's either fight or flight. And sometimes it's freeze. And whenever you freeze yourself in that moment and you can't get out of that cycle.
Yep, no.
And that's really hard. And, it's scary that the third leading cause of death for 10 to 17-year-olds is dying by suicide. And if you think of, I have a 3-year-old and a 14-year-old, and them being 10, where they're precious and life should be about going outside and climbing trees, and for someone that young to think that is their only way out, that's a hard pill to swallow. Right.
So for causes and risk factors, just social constraints, job and adults employment. Employment. Do you have any statistics on how that correlates?
So males are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than females. And I think a lot of that comes down to the stigma of I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be taking care of my family.
What's that societal, what is a man? Am I meeting that standard?
Right, absolutely. Caucasians are more likely to die by suicide than any other race. I know we are becoming more of an integrated community, which is wonderful, and I love it. I think that it has helped me to see different perspectives because of that.
Yes.
I know we both grew up rural Lebanon. It was a small town. We didn't have a lot of minorities. And now it has become more colorful and more integrated. And I'm able to see how different cultures handle things differently.
Yes.
And different cultures, I'm noticing, are more family-based.
Yes.
And I really think that helps. That helps a lot. I'm not saying that Caucasian families aren't.
Right.
But statistically speaking, you have minority groups that are all about family. I mean, no matter what, it is about family.
Thing.
That is first and foremost.
And it seems like we are more task and money centric.
Yes.
To where we're like birds and we kick them out of the nest and we go fly and go do this.
Oh, you're 18, you're an adult.
Yep.
And I don't know who came up with that magic number of 18 of, okay, you're done and you're ready.
Not.
But I remember being 18 and I was not ready.
Oh, no. When I look back, I don't know that I was ready at 25, 30 or whatever. Because looking
still
back,
working on it.
we're still working up there to be in. So when somebody in your life is being faced with these things, there's going to be warning signs, right? And before we go down this, sometimes there's not.
Yes.
I think that's a big thing to really convey is sometimes there's not.
Right. And you and I were talking before we started that, the stigma is that something happens and then something continues to happen to a person.
Yes.
And it's just this downhill slide.
Yes.
When honestly, what studies are showing is it really ebbs and flows. You can have good days and you can have bad days. You can have good days and you can have bad days. And there have been studies of people who have attempted and not succeeded. And they even said, I honestly wasn't even thinking about it at the time. It was just, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like the load gets so heavy and you get so tired of putting it down and picking it up and putting it down and picking it up. They're just like, I just want to go to sleep and not wake up. Or, what? There's my means. I'm going to do it.
Right. And one of because it ebbs and flows, one of the risk factors or warning signs that I've heard and read about was sometimes people get in a better mood before.
Yeah.
Like they're, I'm going to offload this horrible burden that I feel that I carry.
I feel good about it now.
And that takes you off guard.
Yeah.
And that could be a warning sign of somebody actually going from a deep depression to very quickly being in a good mood.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you said depression because mental health plays a huge part.
Oh, of course.
In a lot of this. Anxiety, it's not just depression because you can be so anxious about things that you're just like, I can't make a decision. You're like a squirrel on caffeine. I don't know what to do. I don't know which way to go. So this is what I'm going to do. This is my answer.
Yeah.
Depression, of course, that overwhelming sadness. But you can take all of that and be like, well, here's my plan. I have a plan. I finally have made a decision. So now I feel good. and I've laid down the load for the last time because I know now I'm not going to have to pick it back up.
Right. And that's, and it's very scary because other warning signs are pretty common, right? The depression or the anxiety, the withdrawn, isolation,
anger.
Some of the things that lead anger.
Yeah.
What other warning signs you might not think of?
Aggression towards others, because whenever you're depressed, and the stigma with especially males and being sad.
Oh yeah, we're allowed to.
You're allowed 2 emotions. It's anger and happiness, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
In society, I don't want to you have more. I don't
yes.
want you to
No.
think you have more.
And no. Let's pause there a second because I would love to talk about that.
Yeah.
Talking about it because you brought up an interesting statistic is that males are 4 times more likely to succumb to suicide. Yeah. And then. And then when you go back to our mental health of especially Gen Xers, which is what my generation is, right on the line of that and millennials or that we were allowed a couple 3 emotions, right? There's a saying, and I can only say part of it, where we're allowed to love it or fight it, or there's a third one, right? And that was it.
Or really love it.
Yeah, or really love it. And that was it. That was all you're allowed to do. And man, it took me forever to have healthy relationships because we men a lot of times have this filter that every other emotion comes out as anger.
Yep.
And unless you go through some therapy, unless you go through some very heavy unlearning, you don't realize you're even running it through a filter.
And I think that's a great stance for fathers to be like, you are allowed all of these emotions.
Yes.
And helping them and leading them in that, and leading your kids in that. And it's not just boys, because even now, I mean, my parents would be like, I'll give you something to cry about because, but because women are more emotional beings.
Yes.
We just really are. And my husband will use that against me later, but
I'll clip it out and send it to you. It's fine.
Yeah. But even my son, who's 18, who has gone through 2 years of battle of hard things that have happened with him. He's like, well, I can't cry. I can't have that emotion. And it took the men in his life, not just his dad, but those men in his life to say, dude, feel all the feelings and then get up and keep going.
Yes. And I think that's a lot of with men, especially in the suicide rates and the, not to keep on the side path, but I think it's interesting is that I've had a couple very close personal experiences where it got very, very close, right?
Same.
Very, very close. And when you look back, I mean, there was things set into motion that I had to stop, and it was. And then I started going to therapy, and then I started learning things. And then a therapist told me one time, he goes, "Oh, Ryan's mad, so everybody around you has to be mad." He goes, "You're not mad. You're upset about this. You're upset about that." And man, that made me mad. Yeah. And it was telehealth because it was during COVID. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Nope, I'm done. Nope.
Goodbye.
And then that never left my brain. And I started thinking about it. And I realized that 99% of my problems trace back to anger. And if you went one version lower than that, 99% of my problems was I wasn't allowed to feel or process things correctly.
Yep. Something that I say a lot and my kids hear me say all the time is hurt people hurt people. And anger usually comes from an unmet need, or an unmet idea, but you didn't voice it to someone else,
right?
And so then you're hurt, and then you're mad.
Yes.
And so it's true. Misery loves company. Hurt people, right? And you want everyone else to feel what you're feeling.
Of course, because you want somebody to be there with you.
But without telling them.
No, because expectations is the root of all disappointment, right?
Oh, absolutely.
100%. If you set up an expectation that's not met, and especially if you don't tell that other person, like, I need you to be with me. I need you to, we have sayings that some people make fun, like, I want to feel heard. And that's what that means. I want to feel heard.
And validated.
And I know with my wife, it's like, I don't feel like you're hearing me now is a big thing to say in our house.
Yeah.
Not getting mad, not screaming, not yelling. It's like, look, I don't think you're hearing me.
And that's not like a physical hearing.
Yeah. And that makes both of us go, all right.
Yeah. Then I'm not communicating this the way that I thought I was.
Right. So warning signs, we got off on that tangent. It'll either stay whole or I'll edit it and put it in someplace else.
We're good. But we may have a part 2.
Warning signs.
Aggressive behavior towards others, agitation or severe anxiety, chronic physical pain, acute medical conditions, which can be from birth to adult, command hallucinations to hurt self. And so that's more that mental health side of things, feeling trapped. And that's just if you're in a relationship that you don't know how to get out of, if you are in a situation that you don't know how to get out of, helplessness and hopelessness, being highly impulsive. Like, we talked about they've laid those things down. So now they're like, all right, let's just go where I'm going to do all these things.
Yes.
And I'm going to buy people things and do all the things.
Clear out bank accounts, skydiving, just a million different things.
Hopelessness. And I think I said that one. But also being a burden to others, feeling as if you are a burden to others. And that's one that I see in the SUD community a lot, because they feel like, okay, it's a cycle. I've been here before. They're not going to want to help me again.
Yes.
And addiction is a back and forth thing. Like, part of the addiction model is relapse.
Yeah.
Same with weight loss.
Of course.
A part of your food addiction is going to be relapse because you have to get out of that cycle. And sexual abuse or any kind of abuse, PTSD, history of suicide in your family, that is a big one. If you have had someone close to you that has completed suicide, even if it was your grandparent, that carries over generationally.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
No, keep going.
One of the big ones that we're seeing with our youth and even adults, younger adults, is problems with sleep. We are very screen addicted, and that we've heard a lot about melatonin and things. Blue light from screens decreases your melatonin production.
Yes.
So getting off of your screens, and parents, I know this is a fight, even for yourselves,
right.
2 hours prior to going to bed, you're going to have better sleep. A healthy diet, you're going to have better sleep.
Yes.
So it is a really holistic thing whenever we're looking at the different risk factors and things for suicide, because if you aren't out getting your exercise and moving your body like you should, if you aren't fueling your body like you should, and then also recovering like you should, and I'm saying the word should after I said don't should.
Yeah, right.
But as we know is helpful for us, we are putting ourselves at a higher risk for mental health issues as well as going over into the suicide risk factors.
Sleep is one of the most important things to mental health.
Yes.
And the thing that I would tell people, or perception is whatever comes out of your eyeballs, right? It's from this look in there, and a good night's sleep versus a bad night's sleep will change your perception of your life incredibly quickly.
Yes.
And so you're on the verge, you're already having ideologies, you're already on this, and then you go through an insomnia patch, which is normal with medications, normal with just life in general, normal with all these other things.
The amount of energy drinks we all consume.
Yes. All right, so let's go to available resources, right?
So I am from Compass, but I'm from this community, and we have a lot of available resources within our community that's not Compass.
Yes.
I'll start with Compass, though. For Compass, you can come in anytime, Monday through Friday during our business hours, and go through what we call OA, or open access, whenever you or your kiddo are struggling. And you will meet with a clinician, and they will help you get connected to the resources that they believe you need.
Okay.
We have school-based therapy. We have in-office therapy. We also have virtual therapists. We have psychiatrists who are telehealth, because unfortunately, psychiatry is one of those fields that there aren't very many.
Yes.
And so especially for our rural area, there aren't very many, but we do have very good ones at Compass. And then we can also get you connected with Jordan Valley in order to get your dental needs met. Because if you've ever had a toothache, women, that's worse than giving birth. And that can, chronic pain is a suicide risk factor. So we do have that there at Compass.
Is there, and I want to ask this because I feel like this kind of ties in, is there a financial What's the financial of using Compass?
So we have a sliding scale fee.
Okay.
So you will come in and you will fill out that paperwork. We also have Jerry, who is our Medicaid specialist, who, if you qualify, he's going to help you and he's going to do it with you instead of you having to fill out the 700 pages for them. Jordan Valley also has Medicaid specialists, so I don't want to just isolate it to Compass. We are working together, so we go hand in hand.
Okay.
And we will help you. We also can find you different resources. Lane Change is a great resource.
Yes.
It is one that I have loved watching grow and flourish in our community, something that it was very needed. So if our programs aren't for you for the substance use, please go to Lane Change.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Lauren at Lane Change and that whole program is amazing.
It is. And they, the board, who's pushing to do better and better for our community. They have great projects. Project 360 is a great resource to go to, especially for youth. The Sound House is a great place, safe place for our kiddos to go. And I believe that is 13 and up. We have 988. 988 is ran by Compass. We hold the contract for 988 here in Laclede County, as we do with all mental health here. It is the neatest and most thought out program that I have seen in a long time, because you don't have an excuse. You can text, you can call, you can chat online, you can video conference. And who you meet with right then is a clinician who is trained in crisis management. We also have our mobile crisis unit who will come to you and work through all those things. We have our liaison that works with law enforcement, because our law enforcement is already overworked and come into situations that they may not be used to. They get their training, but they work day in and day out of different situations, and having a set of eyes that's trained for crisis management for mental health is a wonderful resource. So we have all of those things. We also have so many churches in our community. And I will tell you that the churches that I've been in that have Celebrate Recovery or have any kind of program, they are not shoving their religion down your throat. They want to help you first. And I know that from experience. And if that is not the place that you want to go, there are several different private counselors here in town too.
And we'll try to get a good comprehensive list of those resources. So thank you so much for coming by and talking to us about this, because the main thing that I want everybody in Lebanon to understand is that when I was going through those struggles, I always felt like I was alone. And I didn't have a resource. And maybe 25, 30 years ago as a teenager, I didn't have those resources. But those are there now. And with Compass Health and other resources, 988, basically we just want the public to know there are options.
Yeah, absolutely.
Suicide happens too much to where I feel that I don't want anybody sitting there thinking they don't have a resource, they don't have a way, or they're stuck. And everything's confidential, correct? With 988?
Yes, absolutely. Something else that I really want to hit on is talking about suicide and suicide prevention does not make people think more about completing suicide.
Oh, no, not at all.
Something that if you have a household and you struggle with mental health, have a safety plan. Talk to the people that you love. Talk to the people that are close to you. Give them your warning signs. Give them your red flags.
Yes.
Tell them, whenever you start seeing me isolate, that's whenever I need you to come in it. Because once we get into those isolation modes, we're not in the reach out mode.
No.
And so making sure that you are safety planning with your kids before there's a crisis is the best thing. It's like planning a vacation before you go. I hate to use, vacation, but have a plan. I remember whenever I was little, at school, they'd be like, all right, what's your fire escape plan? And you'd have to go home and talk to your parents about it. And my parents would just be like, just go outside. But have a plan in place. Have safe people that your kids can contact, because sometimes it's not you. And as parents, that can be hurtful.
Right.
But sometimes it's not you.
Right.
And make sure that you have those doors already opened for them. As adults, make sure that you are aware of what your signs are.
Yes.
And that you are reaching out whenever you need that too.
And if you have an angsty teenager, after I'm on my 5th one, so if you have one, my biggest advice, and this may not be, is meet them where they're at. A lot of times as parents, we have a tendency to blow up, dismiss, not see, dig down deep, and even though the world is vastly different, you know, be the parent that you would have needed in that situation. Right. And because I think a lot of people, especially with the youth, I think we're just so disconnected by devices, by phones, you know, years ago, it took 20, 30 years for a generation to change. Now it's 3 to 5 years. Yep. And it's like we get so disconnected. So when it comes to youth and mental illness, just meet them where they're at. Oh, yeah. Learn what skibbity means, no matter how much it hurts your soul. Okay? That's my advice.
Be the main character in their life.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Main character vibes.
All right, thank you so much for coming by. Absolutely. And come by anytime. We got lots of things that with mental illness, I want to commit Lebanon Now to making sure that we talk about these things.
Absolutely.
These are the things that don't get talked about enough. And if we can do anything with this platform, is to let people know that they're not alone out there.
Absolutely.
And all right.
Come by, call 988, text, all the things.
Through the magic of TV, we'll have stuff up here, and I'll get her number to where you can reach out to Compass. And my name is Ryan Shear with Lebanon Now. Stay tuned.